All right, welcome back, everyone, to episode 5. But for the sake of it, we'll call it episode 5, the reboot of the Enter the Geek Matrix podcast. As always, I'm your host, Matrix, and with me,
Obi-John Kenobi.
What's going on, guys? Look, I know it's been a while. We've been MIA. We originally started this with the intention of trying to get in an episode at least once a month.
Yeah.
But let's be honest, life happens. And things have come up, and it's been about 8 months.
Yeah, a long time.
8 months since we've been here for an episode.
Too long.
Unfortunately, you would think that would come with a lot of things for us to talk about, but due to COVID and the quarantine and such, as far as geeky stuff goes, really hasn't been much going on.
So the movie industry got shut down, and a lot of games got pushed back. It's pretty brutal on most of the entertainment industry.
Yeah, I mean, just about everything's getting pushed back, or just at this point we don't even know.
Yeah,
we've got no new information or anything like that. So actually, want to kind of get a little bit into some of that, the reasons as to why there hasn't been an episode up for a while. Obviously, COVID struck, and that was tough on everyone, and it still is. And truth be told, at this point, we're not really sure when we can foresee life getting back to normal.
Yeah.
I absolutely hate that term, the new norm.
The new normal.
Makes me want to throat punch somebody.
In these uncertain times.
Right. It's just, God, it just kills me, man. Like, no, it's almost like you're accepting the fact that this is the way it is, but
yeah,
you know what? Fuck that. We're going to get back. We're going to bounce back, and we're going to all do it together, regardless.
Absolutely.
But even besides COVID and things like that, for me personally, I moved at the beginning of the year for school to start my new university, and I had some internet issues there. I was living with family, and there wasn't much I could do about it. Even my Twitch streams themselves just kind of took a hit.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, of course, I started working at a new job, and then I had to move again because COVID struck. So that's 2 moves in and of itself. And then of course school's kind of somewhat picking back up, so I had to move back.
Yeah.
And it's just that's a lot to deal with.
Hey man, life happens.
Absolutely. You yourself have had a few moves over the past couple months.
Yeah, I have been through quite a bit, but it's coming together. It's moving along.
Well, and what I think the fortunate thing about all of it is really the light at the end of the tunnel, the greener grass, so to speak, is that it's given us an opportunity to really focus on this podcast.
100%. We had a lot of time to think and discuss what we could do with it and how we can improve it and make it better.
Absolutely, and that was kind of the issue with the previous episodes is everything was already so sporadic. It kind of just happened on a whim, and if anything, we'd only have just a few minutes before the episode actually went live to kind of detail what was going to happen throughout it.
Yeah.
But we've got a lot of new ideas coming on, guys, and a lot of new different types of content and segments and such.
Yeah, new structure, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's great. Honestly, with everything going on, I think the revamp was a great thing.
Part two.
The reboot. John, is there any other news that you'd like to mention as far as the podcast and the direction we're taking it?
Well, I can go over a little bit of what we've talked about and what we want to do with the structure as far as how we're going to start running it. We want to try to break it into 3 sections and address a couple different things and go in various different directions with it. Also increasing the time to, since we're running 3 segments, bumping up to an hour and a half instead of an hour.
Right.
That'll give us a little bit more time to play with. Let us touch some different topics since before we were only doing one topic, and that was the hour podcast. And now since we're breaking up into several different topics, that'll give us ample time to address each one of them.
Well, let's be honest, even the episodes prior, we were mainly, with all the news that was going on with Star Wars in general, that was really what the whole thing was about.
Yeah. I'm really excited about the new format, though. I think it's going to be cool. We're going to be able to talk about a lot of cool stuff.
I am, too. I think we've set it up in a way where it's almost like a story. We're going to have a beginning, a middle, and an end, kind of something to keep you guys going there at the end. And we're going to implement some things to that give you guys something to think about and things to consider. And I think that's great. I think it's going to bring in a lot of engagement from viewers. And it's going to help us to cover an even wider range of topics.
Yeah, absolutely. And it'll give us chances to polish it up a bit, add in some things to really bring it to a really good podcast. And
Right.
I think that's been the goal from day one, is to make a really, really good, entertaining podcast.
Well, and here's the thing too, that this is a work in progress, and even as far as as long as it's been since we've had an episode and such, which was mainly because of scheduling issues between the two of us, but it's giving us a chance to really get into this, and it's still a work in progress. And so ultimately, what I believe our hope is for each episode to continue to get better and better, as opposed to where, because of the craziness that comes along with life, the episodes prior, we kind of started off with a base and really kind of stuck there. And, a lot of that is my fault too. It's just, it happens, you have so many other things in life going on, and sometimes you have to prioritize.
Hey man, even Pokemon got to gain some levels where they evolve.
Absolutely. It's all a learning experience.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all it is. But yeah, so tell us a little bit about these segments that we're going to be implementing into the podcast.
So what we're looking at doing is we want to do some different segments. One of the segments we're going to be introducing in this particular podcast is we want to start introducing some movie reviews. And it could be geeky movies. We'll definitely watch some geeky movies. But I mean, any movie, a new hit movie, or even like an older classic movie, maybe that you guys haven't seen or you have seen, and you kind of want somebody else's opinion on it. It'd be fantastic. We're also going to be doing some video game trailer reviews for some upcoming games. Giving our thoughts on it, what we're excited about, what we're reticent about with it, and then what we're also going to be doing is Matrix streams. As you all know, you're on his channel, but I'm sure you guys know that he and even I play games that don't necessarily get streamed.
Right.
So we wanted to introduce a segment. What are we playing now? Just go over games that maybe you haven't seen Matrix play, or games that I've played that he hasn't even touched, and we can go over like what we've been playing in the off screen and what we think about that, what's been fun and stuff like that.
Well, and that's the thing too, because not even just myself, but you and me together, we play a lot of things, and I don't stream it, but I do have a lot of conversations with people about some of those, especially throughout the gaming community.
Yeah.
And there is an interest in it. It's simply that not many people do it.
Right.
And so you don't really know much other than what you might hear from time to time, and that's probably not really enough to draw you into actually not only playing the game but buying it.
Yeah.
So I think that's really great. So I think these segments are really going to broaden the horizons and what the potential of this podcast could really be, and it also it's kind of broadening our horizons, because with the movie reviews or the trailers and things like that, we might dive into some things that normally we wouldn't necessarily take a look at.
Right.
And because, I mean, let's be honest, we're both huge movie buffs.
Yeah.
That we love movies, cult classics, sci-fi, horror, whatever the case may be. But there's millions of movies out there.
Absolutely. I'm a huge movie buff, and I go back and watch old movies all the time. I just watched, Yojimbo, an old samurai movie, black and white subtitles.
Oh.
Yeah. Dude, I watch some crazy stuff, and it'll be fun to kind of like introduce some of these things in our movie reviews.
Right. Well, and I'm really excited for it, man. It has been a while since we've done an episode, and we had a good thing going beforehand. I know we had a lot of exposure before, but I feel like everything that we're doing now is going to reach a broader audience, and I think we're just going to be reaching more people as it goes along.
Yeah, definitely. And I think we'll be hitting, even if like as the viewer, they're not particularly interested in one thing we're saying, there's a high likelihood that something else in that same podcast they are going to be interested in.
Right, absolutely. It broadens the viewer base. I mean, because me personally, whenever I'm watching a video on YouTube or listening to a podcast,
right,
I'm not necessarily interested in everything that's going on in there, but there's one, two, maybe a few things in there that I'm interested in, But you know what? Because I'm interested in that, I'm staying to finish it out.
Yeah.
I'm in it for the long haul at that point.
Right.
Now, granted, that's where a lot of things tricky is because they don't put those things that you're actually looking for till the very middle or the very end.
Yeah.
So you're sitting there watching for 20 minutes and you're like, what the hell is going on? You know?
Right.
So, well, you know what? First off, cheers to a new episode. Shout out to Miller Lite. Not a sponsor, but shout out to Miller Lite. So, also, guys, talking about some of the new things that we've got going on with the podcast and that we're starting to implement, the quality of it is something that we've been talking a lot about and something that we're really going to start trying to work on to a great deal. We're going to start dabbling in some actual video editing and things like that. Not necessarily for the live stream, of course, because it's already streamed. I might change up some overlays and things like that, but that's about the extent to which I can do. But as far as the YouTube uploads, you know, before, as soon as we got done with the podcast live stream, I would immediately download it and then just upload it straight to YouTube.
Right, yeah. Think of
that
this
was
as
it.
like a live studio filming
Right.
of a show, and then what we upload is the finished product.
It's like the audience is the cameramen.
Yeah.
They're the ones filming us.
Oh, can we get somebody in the background and be like, ooh! And laugh track? Let's go laugh track.
Yeah, laugh track. We can even get some of the sound effect things, you know?
Get somebody to randomly drop a boom down from the top.
Yeah, that one sound guy. That's like the videos. I don't know if you've seen him lately. He does them on Twitter and YouTube. But Kevin, what's his name? Kevin James.
Yeah.
He's been doing those a lot, and it's the sound guy.
Oh yeah, I have seen those.
Yeah, it's so great. He did the Joker and a couple of other ones that you can see the boom coming into the camera. But he's sitting there, and some of us like really emotional, so he's crying too. It's fantastic, man. It's wonderful.
Those are hilarious.
But is there anything else you wanted to add as far as what's been going on and the direction that we're going to be taking this podcast in?
I'm just super excited about it. I love the introduction of us doing some trailers for things. Because
Right.
let's be honest, like there are some things we can talk for an hour about off of a trailer, like Star Wars.
True.
But certain things, like we wouldn't be able to really handle an hour of conversation about it
No.
based on a single trailer. And now we get to show like a few trailers in a podcast, and then like tackle a few other things too. I'm excited about that.
Right. Well, and it adds more depth to it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even after we watch a trailer or whatever the case may be, I mean, there's only so much that can be said about some things, and then of course you can speculate all day long, but you are very hindered in what you can do with that. So I think this is going to allow us to really get detailed and specific in what we're doing and what our thoughts are on it.
Right. Absolutely. But yeah, that's all I have to say about it. I'm super excited about it.
Right. So, guys, another thing we're going to also be implementing soon, just so you don't think that anything's going on or the stream cut out. We'll be taking very short intermissions in between segments. I just wanted to inform you guys of that because I don't want you to think that say there was internet connectivity issues or anything like that. Because I have had that experience in my Twitch channel before. So I seem to find that some people don't entirely understand the whole concept of scenes.
Yeah.
Right. And now, granted, maybe a lot of that is my fault because when I first started Twitch streaming, I was streaming straight through my PlayStation with my PlayStation camera, and you can't cut that off unless you shut it down.
Right.
So yeah, so we're gonna start doing that, and that's just kind of a way for us to kind of gather our thoughts and transition into the next aspect of the podcast.
Yeah.
Which the next aspect will be the next segment.
Yes. Well, one thing before we switch, I just want to give a shout out to my kids. Shane, Hannah.
Hey, Shane and Hannah, love you guys.
So yeah, with that, I think that's a pretty good transition for us to go ahead and move on to the next segment, the trailers and the trailers. Yeah.
Yeah, the trailers.
Absolutely.
Okay. Wonderful. So, guys, we're going to switch screens. We're going to play the trailer, and then we're going to dive into it. So, all right. So this first trailer we have, guys, is Bill and Ted Face the Music. Well, actually, we're going to wait on that one. I'm sorry. Yep. So we're going to do the Marvel's Avengers trailer. People have just started to be able to play the beta if you pre-order the game right now. And actually, I think that ended yesterday or today. Actually, was the end of the beta or the access to the beta. So we're going to watch the trailer and then we're going to kind of dive into what's going on.
could instill rules, the proper boundaries, I could harness the raw power of that beast. A few months later, while hunting, the adolescent cub turned on me. We're fixing the damage the Avengers did all those years ago. Inhumans are sick. Unlimited power, that's dangerous. It's lethal. You are lucky to be alive. Come on, Kamala. Let AIM help you.
I'll take my chances. What if the Avengers were set up? I think you should see for yourself. Couldn't Mr. Stark help us with this?
Hi, I'm sorry. Who are you?
Kamala?
This better be good.
He totally locked Cap in the reactor room and then he tried to jack the Chimera.
Son of
You all completely lost your senses.
Well, where were you while the world went to hell?
This is our fault. All of ours. You really think the world is better without us?
Yes. See, it's always been your problem. Running from who you are, what you are. I'm warning you.
This is exactly what Tarleton wants!
You struggle against the unstoppable tide of progress, Avengers. Power cannot be controlled. It has to be destroyed. I will rid the Earth of superpowers. Even if it has to end with me.
This just got a whole lot weirder.
All right.
That was an ad. Freaking ads, YouTube.
But
Oh no, that was
the end of
it.
the
That
trailer,
was
yeah.
it. Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so
That would look pretty cool. I like that the storyline looks interesting.
yeah, it is. Yeah, I'm sure. I know a lot of, let's say, Marvel fans.
Mm-hmm.
However, they're fans of the Marvel Cinematic Universe,
Right.
and they don't necessarily understand much about the source material and things like that. You know, the origins of everything.
Yeah.
So I feel like maybe a lot of people were wanting it to be a mimic, maybe a you know, prologue or whatever from the actual films.
Oh yeah, the MCU.
So
yeah.
I'm loving this. That this is an entirely new storyline, and it also leaves it up for continuous games in the future.
Yeah. Well, so you know, they mentioned the Inhumans, which is a huge Marvel series. The Inhumans. I loved the idea. The idea that the plot is this villain is trying to remove superpowers.
Right.
Like that's a pretty nefarious thing in the comic book superhero world. Is like
Yeah.
we're just going to turn this world normal.
Well, no, normally with a lot of villains, take for instance Lex Luthor, even in the DC universe,
Yeah.
his whole deal with Superman was that why do you get to be God?
Right.
Why do you get to have these powers?
Yeah.
You know, and so that is a very popular thing in a lot of these comics, and it's a great thing because it really is kind of questioning it. You know, it's almost one of those things that are they really a villain? You know,
A sympathetic villain.
yeah.
Or like one of those villains you low key agree with.
Right. You're like out here murdering people, but you're still pretty cool. Like you're all right, you know.
Well, and so in the end, the guy at the end is like, "That's my goal, even if it ends with me."
Right.
I'm pretty sure that was MODOK, which is a very popular character in the Marvel comic books. He's essentially this giant head with a tiny body that like floats.
Now is he like one of the or a sort of like celestial type being, or where does he come from?
He's I'd be lying if I tried to say any more than what I actually know. He's a being not of Earth.
Right.
He's been in a lot of storylines. He was, I believe, in Secret Wars, the main Secret Wars storyline. A lot of times he's a very controlling kind of person, and he does have superpowers, and I think he's an alien to be honest.
Just a straight up some other species.
I'm not entirely sure, but I know of the character. He's one of the more uncommonly used characters because he's just so outlandish.
Right.
You know, seeing this giant head and like little baby legs kicking.
It's almost like you don't look nefarious at all.
Yeah, it's almost comical.
I don't want to touch it.
Yeah, it's almost comical when you see him. So that's why a lot of times it's really hard to make like a sinister villain out of him. And it looks like they're doing a pretty good job of it.
So then, and now let me ask you this: the young girl that they show, Kamala, I believe
Yeah.
they said her name is, appears to be some sort of main character in the story.
Yes, that's so she's actually Ms. Marvel. She got that mantle after Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel,
Right.
passed on the Marvel mantle to her. Because in the comics, Carol Danvers wasn't even the first Captain Marvel.
I believe I did know that actually.
Yeah. So it's kind of like a mantle that's been passed on.
Yeah.
And so yeah, Ms. Marvel is Kamala, and she has inherited that Marvel mantle, and she's a newer mutant and a newer character in terms of history of Marvel.
Okay. Now, also, just for funsies, we did watch a little bit of some gameplay earlier, and I've actually watched some streamers playing the beta. So, what did you think about that? I mean, truth be told, I think as far as superhero games go in the past, unless you're reaching back to the late 90s, maybe early 2000s, the only decent superhero game that we've had over the past few years is the Arkham series.
There was the Spider-Man game on PS4.
The new Spider-Man. I'm sorry, the new Spider-Man. Which, by the way, the second installment of that will be coming out at some point next year.
I heard about that.
Which will be a PS5 exclusives. Shout out to Sony.
Not a sponsor.
Yeah, not sponsored. Damn. But no, so as far as the gameplay goes, I think the animation and the art of it looks really fantastic.
Yeah,
I like the character design themselves. I mean, some things you can't really change much. Iron Man and his Iron Man suit is Iron Man and his Iron Man suit. You can make a few tweaks here and there, but it's Iron Man in the Iron Man suit.
Yeah, there's some things that are pretty iconic. It's strange for being so inundated with MCU movies for so many years now to see the characters look so different.
Yeah.
On screen, and that takes some getting used to. It's a little bit like you're not Robert Downey Jr.
Well, and let's be honest though, I mean, they killed it.
Yeah,
they killed those
they
movies.
did.
I mean, and regardless of whether or not you grew up as a fan of comic books or not, and you were introduced to these characters through the source material, right? The MCU fucking killed it.
Oh hell yeah, they did.
I mean, they were every film. Well, give or take one or two that are decent enough.
Yeah.
But just the entire 22 film span was amazing. I mean, it was absolutely amazing. And, you know, that's what a lot of critics and I guess what they would consider real actors criticize the MCU for is the fact that, you know, like it's all hype because it's these Marvel movies and first couple were amazing and now people just go to watch them because it's a Marvel movie. Well, you're damn right I go and watch it just because it's a Marvel movie.
Yeah.
You know what? They're doing their thing.
Make more, please.
Please. No, don't stop.
Yeah.
You know?
Don't stop.
I mean, they were wonderful. You span this whole entire storyline over, what, 10 or so years and about 22 films.
Yeah.
I mean, that's amazing.
Oh, yeah.
You know what? Even Star Wars shot the gap with a new trilogy, but they only got to 9.
Yep.
You know? I think that's a wonderful thing.
Oh, yeah. But in regards to gameplay that we were watching that earlier, I thought it was really cool. So it looks like it's a third-person action-adventure.
Yeah.
A lot of beat 'em up in it. But what's really cool about it is you don't always play as the same character. So some levels you'll be Hulk, some you'll be Iron Man, some you'll be Black Widow, some you'll be Ms. Marvel, some you'll be Captain America. And what's really great is, you know, when you play those kind of action adventures, they can get very stale because you're always like doing those same combos, you're always fighting the same way, and they always have to try to introduce new mechanics in order to keep you interested. But now you just keep switching characters, and that's what keeps that combat fresh, is that you have to learn to play with each one of these superheroes.
Well, and plus too, and I mentioned this earlier, there's apparently a sort of upgrade leveling system to it as well.
Yeah.
And that's not just for characters where you would think, okay, well, Iron Man's armor, you know, Cap's suit, whatever, even the Hulk himself, through something that appeared to be, which I would imagine came from Tony Stark himself, but nanotech that is used to enhance Hulk in certain ways, which is awesome because not only is it fresh because you're playing these different characters, but but you can build these different characters almost in various different ways.
Yeah.
And I think that's great. I think it does keep the game fresh, and it keeps you wanting to play it. It probably will keep you wanting to go back and replay it again, just to try it out in different ways.
Absolutely, I think it's a really great idea, and it'll keep you interested in playing it, even though it's similar in style. No matter who you're playing, it'll still be ultimately different. Like, interacting with Thor's hammer, we were watching. Thor can throw his hammer, and it'll stay where he threw it, and then he can go and fight, and then move behind somebody else and call it back to him and hit him.
Right.
And then Cap had like an ability where he could throw a shield and it would ricochet and hit like 3 guys. There was some really cool stuff in there. Black Widow was pulling out her electrified tonfas and pistols, fighting Taskmaster. We saw some really cool villains in the game.
Yes, we did.
Taskmaster was there. Abomination was there.
Yep.
It was super cool, and I'm excited to see what all other villains they bring into it.
Well, and that's the thing about the combat system that we realize too, is that it's very nuanced. It's not repetitive. It's not you're just in there beating them up, and then you have that one button that maybe you dodge with, the other one maybe you counter with, which was something that you mainly had in the Arkham series. But with this, everything seems unique.
Yeah.
You almost don't do the same thing twice.
Yeah.
They also implemented the different camera angles and effects that really drive the action. It's almost like watching a movie.
Absolutely. And I was noticing there were some contextual things happening too. Whenever, like, the Black Widow fight against Taskmaster, he would throw out, the fights would change, and it was phased boss fights, which makes them interesting. But like, Taskmaster threw out these mines that would appear all over the battlefield, and whoever was playing Black Widow hit one, but then they also threw Taskmaster into one of his own.
Yeah.
And it damaged him. So it was really cool. Like, you can do different stuff and a lot of contextual stuff.
Well, so then they implemented kind of working with the environment, which is something that we saw with Hulk too.
Yeah.
Hulk's just not running around hitting things. He can pick up pieces of the earth, essentially, the ground, and throw them, which is something you see Hulk do all the time, and whether it's the comics or the movies. I mean, he has that strength to be able to do those things. So it makes sense for him to be able to do it in that world.
Absolutely. So,
and also, too, with the game, let's be honest, we live in a world of DLCs, which in essence is amazing.
It's not a bad thing.
It continues to add new content to games.
Right.
And with things like the varying combat styles, the upgrade system and things like that, and then just the vast potential that you can gather from the source material as far as storylines and things like that.
Oh yeah.
There's endless possibilities for this game.
Yeah, DLC for new arcs and introducing new heroes and villains that you can play as and stuff like that. Yeah, the possibilities are out there for it.
Right. So, and that's another thing. When they first originally aired the trailer, the very first trailer for it, many people were upset by it.
Yeah.
They didn't like the animation. They didn't like the voice actors that were used to play them, which I believe a lot of that stemmed from the fact that they didn't have the licensing to use Robert Downey Jr. or Chris Evans to voice those characters.
Right.
Let's be honest, guys. You're deriving this from comic books.
Yeah.
So in reality, whatever voice you heard in your head while you're reading it, it's unique to everyone.
Absolutely, yeah. The MCU is actually just one person's interpretation of the comic source material.
Right.
It's not the canon. The comics are.
Yeah, absolutely. So the gameplay looked great. The trailer was wonderful. I'm really excited to get into the game.
By the way, did you see Thor had the "Hello, my name is" sticker on his
No,
shirt?
I did not see that.
Yeah, in the trailer, they walked in whenever they first introduced Thor. He has a "Hello, my name." I couldn't make out what it said.
Right.
I'll have to go back and look, but he was wearing a little "Hello, my name." I bet there's a joke in there.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. All right, guys, we're going to take a quick about 20, 30-second break, and then we'll be right back for the next gameplay trailer.
All right.
All right, guys. So for the next trailer, while we were trying to find things to talk about in this episode of the podcast, we ran across, admittedly, one of our biggest topics.
Oh yeah,
Right.
I mean, easily.
And I think rightfully so. You know what? I'm biased as hell.
It's one of the greatest franchises ever made.
I mean, let's be honest. I feel no hate towards it. I get nothing but joy from it. I could talk about it all day and night long. It's absolutely wonderful.
It's literally in my name.
Absolutely. Yeah. So you guys try and figure out exactly
Oh, yeah.
what it is we're talking about. Look, guys, we're going to hop into a trailer for Star Wars Squadrons. It's an upcoming game. You want to give a little detail explanation into what it's like before we get into the trailer?
Sure. So it looks fantastic. From what we watched some gameplay of it earlier, and the campaign they set up, you can play as a pilot from either the Empire or the New Republic.
Yeah.
And it's space sim flight combat.
Mm-hmm.
Looks awesome. Several different ships you can fly. They even have online multiplayer, dogfights. There's a fleet battle. Looks great,
Yeah.
and it looks like it'll be a blast. They have VR capability. We were
Yeah.
watching it. You know, when you see some of the gameplay out, you know, sitting there thinking, it's like, man, imagine playing this with a VR headset and a HOTA setup, and you're just.
I'd never fucking leave.
It's like, so back in the day, they had a Star Wars arcade game where you sat in this cockpit seat and you flew,
Right.
and you even did the trench run.
Yeah.
It was awesome,
Yeah.
dude. And I couldn't even. It would be sick to have that kind of setup and play this game with.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, guys, we're going to dive into this trailer, and then we'll get to talking about it.
All right. Got some game engine footage.
I can't shake them. Giving engines full power.
Think you can escape?
This is gonna be close.
Pilots, you are the Empire's strength. We do not accept defeat.
Remember why we fly. For hope. For the new republic.
Vengeance will be ours.
Seize that moment.
I'm the perfect shot. Makes history.
5 pilots.
1 squadron.
The galaxy's finest.
Get chills right over here.
Every time.
All right. Pilots wanted.
Sign up now. All right, guys. So there was the trailer for Star Wars Squadrons. That release date for that, by the way, is on 10/2 of 2020. What'd you think?
Dude, so the trailer looked cool. A lot of great stuff in there. I'm pretty sure I can't remember, I always get Wedge and Biggs mixed up, but I'm pretty sure I saw one of them in that trailer.
Wedge was Ewan McGregor's. That's the character that Ewan McGregor's uncle played, right?
I think so.
Okay.
So Wedge and Biggs were Luke's fly buddies.
Yeah.
Yeah, from Tatooine.
Yeah, but the actor that played Wedge,
Oh,
that was
yeah.
the one who was Ewan McGregor's uncle was the one that played Wedge.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
You have some Star Wars knowledge I don't have.
That's fucking amazing. I honestly thought that was like a general piece of Star Wars.
Yeah,
knowledge.
no, I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't know that one.
Yeah, Wedge Antilles. the actor, I don't know the actor's name,
Yeah.
but that played Wedge Antilles was actually Ewan McGregor, who played Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah.
Is his uncle.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Keep it in the family, man.
Oh, yeah,
Keep
oh,
it in
yeah.
the family.
The trailer looked really cool. I loved the game engine footage. You know, it looks clean. It looks crisp. I liked it.
Mhm.
It looks amazing. The scenes, the backgrounds. When it pulled up the Star Destroyer and you heard the music, I get chills
Every time, man.
But what's really great about it, you know, we were watching the gameplay earlier, and they're talking about the fleet battles, which is
Yeah.
the bread and butter. So dogfights or the fleet battles, you play in 5-man squads on both sides, which is cool because then you get a little rogue wing going on.
Right.
But when you're playing the fleet mode, you have to win the dogfight in the middle, take out 2 middle-sized ships, and then you can finally attack the flagship, which, if you're playing the New Republic, the flagship of the Empire will be those Star Destroyers.
Yeah.
So you'll actually be doing bombing runs and battle runs on
Yeah.
Star Destroyers, which is just, it's like a Star Wars flyboy dream come true.
Absolutely. Well, you know, and there were a few Star Wars games in the past where you piloted ships, and they were great. They were great simply because they were Star Wars games,
Right.
and you never really got to experience being in a TIE fighter or an X-wing. You know,
Yeah.
any other Star Wars game, you were obviously running around as a Jedi or a Stormtrooper, whatever the case may be. So they were great just because they were an aspect of the Star Wars universe that no one had gotten to play as. This, however, I think is going to fully immerse you into what it would be like to be in the Rebellion or the Empire as a fighter pilot.
Yeah, it's very much they focused on just the flying and the dogfighting and the mechanics of that, which it's very exciting.
Well, and I think that's a great thing about them having it where it appears like it's going to be almost all new characters that we see. You maybe you might get a glimpse of someone here and there.
Oh yeah, there'll be some cameos.
Right, absolutely. It's Star Wars. Why wouldn't there be? But it adds this whole new feel to it.
Yeah.
And it's a feeling that I feel like most fans would want.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We all want more of the Star Wars universe. We all want to see the parts that we haven't seen in the movies. You know, we all want to know the stories of like what happens on the Outer Rims. Like, let's hear some more about bounty hunters. Like,
Right.
what was it like to be a fighter pilot in the Rebellion
Yep.
and stuff like that. So, you know, anything you can add to that is going to be well welcomed.
Right. And so, guys, like John said, we were watching the gameplay trailer earlier, and it really went into depth into a lot of how this game is going to operate for us as players. You know, for starters, which is a big thing just in the gaming community right now, you're going to have fully customizable skins and characters.
Yeah.
Which is a great thing because, you know, while it's iconic and great to be in that orange, you know, X-Wing pilot jumpsuit,
Yeah.
like to be able to customize it and really make it your own.
Yeah.
Is I think what's really going to draw people in.
And it looked like you can change not only like your appearance, you can change your race, like because I saw them switching between
Right.
humans and aliens and changing hair and all that kind of stuff. It was really cool. And then, you know, to further onto that, the cool thing that you could customize your starship,
Right.
Your fighter, you know, because I remember we were watching the gameplay and they had a huge screen of there was about 10 rows by 10 rows. Of the first row was like all your primary guns. They had like a Gatling gun, a powered laser, and like all kinds of. So you can really build and spec your ships to one, what the situation is, or two, how you work best and what your team needs.
Well, and that's another thing about the ships too that I think we both really enjoyed is even in your cockpit,
Yeah.
you can customize your own cockpit. For instance, there was a section, and I can't remember what exactly it was of, but there was an actual bobblehead.
Yeah.
In this,
There's a Chewbacca bobblehead.
was it a Chewbacca?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, and that's amazing. I mean, because that.
And it even started the tilt when they changed.
Yeah. But that's something that's very sought after in video games these days. And I think they did a great job of catering to those wants and needs of gamers in this generation.
Yeah.
Even something else that I noticed in the cockpit itself, which, like I said, I've played Star Wars fighter pilot type games before. There are a few that have released. But in your cockpit, you know, you have all your gadgets, your screens, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, they're lit up. Nothing really happens with them.
Yeah.
It's almost like it's almost like when you build one, say if you're building a Lego one, it's a sticker.
Yeah.
Right? And that's all it is. But with this, there's actually a purpose and meaning behind all these meters and
Yeah.
numbers that are in your screens and such in your cockpit.
Yeah, they're actually reading out your speed, your elevation and tilt and all that.
Right. I think even I might have seen like your ammo count,
Right.
and things like that. Which is another thing too. You know, in a lot of the other Star Wars games, there was just a cooldown.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't ever run out of ammo. It was just a
Right.
cooldown. Which now, granted, you are shooting lasers, but you would imagine. Now, granted, I'm no Star Wars mechanic, but that there's some sort of energy or something that's used
Yeah.
to create that firepower.
A battery of some
Right,
kind,
right,
yeah.
of something.
Well, then your torpedoes are obviously like
That's an actual bomb that's propelled
Yeah.
out. So and it's cool. It adds a realistic aspect to it to actually have to pay attention to those things.
Absolutely, and it does make it closer to like an actual dogfight and actual fighter pilot.
You'll start paying more attention to your shots, and it's almost like playing an FPS game. You have to get good at hitting your shots.
Right.
Right. You can't just fly around. And look, if I just hit him more times than he hits me, we're good.
Yeah.
No, you got to get a little more strategic with it.
Which is really cool. It'll add a new level of difficulty and maybe even competitiveness to it.
Well, and that's what I was about to say. You know, we talked about like the dogfights and stuff. There's an online component to this.
Yeah.
And
I wouldn't be surprised if it came into streaming like big
what
time.
if it? I mean, but even the competitive potential
Right.
for it. I mean, this could be the next big competitive game.
Some scrims.
I mean, geeks are going to lose their minds over this shit.
Yeah, imagine that. Like going to some gaming convention and they've got like 5-man teams all ready to go through.
It's a
the
Star
tournament
Wars
bracket.
fan's wet dream.
I know, right?
You know, it's amazing. I myself look very forward to actually getting into it and grinding it for hours.
Oh,
if
yeah.
that's the case, and whether it's obvious at launch, grinding it out because I know there's that potential for there to be this competitive aspect.
Absolutely.
But also too with a game like that, there's unlimited potential. They could in all reality implement new ships.
Yeah.
Then of course they can continuously release new skins, maybe even new weapons and things like that. Essentially like Fortnite.
Yeah.
You know, that's kind of how it stays fresh. New maps, changes to it, new skins, new weapons. The possibilities are endless.
Absolutely. You could do a lot of cool stuff with it, and it definitely is open to some longevity.
Right.
So it's really well built. The engine looks fantastic. The gameplay looks amazing. The customization is there. People love to make games their own, and everybody plays the game because you want to feel like you're the one in the game doing this stuff. So to be able to customize it and make it you.
It's an escape.
Yeah, and to be able to customize it and make it you is really like almost an ownership type thing.
Absolutely.
So adding that in, I think, is really going to help sell it.
Well, and so let's talk about some of the animation, the graphics. I mean, even the space battles themselves are spectacular.
Yeah, the views, the environments were amazing.
Right.
Just seeing the clouds, it looked like one of the scenes in the trailer we watched was in Bespin because I could see. Like,
Yeah,
the
it looked
clouds.
like to the clouds. Yeah.
And it looked gorgeous.
See, and that's another thing I'm actually curious about too is the maps.
Yeah.
Right. Or missions. However they work that out. How many are there going to be? Is there going to be a semi-open aspect to it? What are they going to be? Are they all going to be places that we know of? Are we going to hear some new places?
Right.
As far as the Star Wars Legends, you could pretty much it's open to whatever you want it to be.
Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to that. God, I want to play it.
I know.
I want to play it. We have less than 2 months, guys. I would imagine pre-order, if it's not out right now, it will be out soon. A game like this, I would almost be willing to bet that there will be some sort of open beta, or no, not open, closed beta if you pre-order, or maybe even open.
Yeah.
Who knows? Besides the previous the Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order that just came out, there hasn't been a game like this out for a long, long time.
Yeah, and usually with those online multiplayer games, a lot of times they open up betas just to test their servers and make sure there's stuff going on.
And we all know as well as anybody else, there's going to be some kinks at the start.
Absolutely.
As is the case with everything.
Yeah.
I myself like to stay optimistic when it comes to things like that. I know a lot of people will just shit on something if it's not great at launch.
Right.
I like to give it time because you know what? the developers themselves are human. You know, they only know what they know,
Right.
and they're already so immersed in making the game themselves and testing it. They're probably themselves like a little biased about it.
Yeah.
So they truthfully believe that it's good when it comes out.
Right.
But then you get those fresh hands on it, those fresh eyes, and that's when you start to see, oh, well, we could have done this a little bit differently.
Mm-hmm.
And the beautiful thing about video games is the downloadable content,
Absolutely.
the updates.
Yeah,
you
the
know,
updates.
they can continue putting in things to make those changes.
Yeah, because back in the day, you know, you bought that cartridge and that was the game.
Yeah,
Bugs, warts, and all.
Yep. I was actually listening to a podcast the other day, and they were discussing that. You know, he was like, one of the guys said, you know, which I didn't quite understand him. He said, I miss the times when I could buy the game and that was the game.
Yeah.
Right? Which it was cool. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, let's be honest. How many of those games, after you got all the way through it, did you not ever go back to for either a long, long time or ever?
Yeah, some, but yeah, there were a lot of them. Most of the time when you would beat one of the, in the older days, most of the time when you beat a game, you would just sit around and wait for a sequel.
Right. Yeah.
I want more.
Because that's all you got left.
Right.
You know. I mean, I had tons of games. Eventually, I would end up, you know, taking them back and selling them for whatever they were worth, you know, at that time, because I've played a lot of games that were really great, but only wanted to play them that one time.
Yep.
I got it. I got everything I needed out of it. I'm done. Now, of course, then there's ones that are just amazing, and you just can't stop going back and replaying it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think every Halo game I've beaten 20, 30 times.
Yeah.
You know, and then that's just because it's one of those things where it's just that fun.
I've played Castlevania Symphony of the Night like 20 times.
Right.
And I've played it all over.
And it's still interesting
Yeah.
each time. And so I also think that's a lot of what people are looking for with games these days. I feel like that we're in this weird transitional period with games where you have this generation of gamers who love the fact that there's all these endless possibilities with updates and DLCs and such. But then you have those ones that are like, you know, I just want it.
Right.
Right. And I feel like we're in this weird period in time as far as the gaming community goes where, you know what, we're just going to get what we get.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of that too comes from there's been a switch in focus from old school games to newer games where a lot more people want a story more than they care about the actual gameplay, right?
Right.
And there's a lot of players out there, and there's nothing wrong. If you're one of the people out there that play games for the stories, nothing wrong with that.
Mm.
You enjoy games how it is you enjoy them.
Right.
But I will say, back in the day, you didn't really have much room for story because we're talking about like back in Atari and Nintendo, you can't really tell a story. Like the original Super Mario,
It was all in captions anyway.
yeah,
You know?
the original Super Mario. Like you want me to tell you the story? Guys, a plumber's girlfriend gets kidnapped by a dinosaur and he goes to save her.
Yeah. Oh, that was it?
You want to hear it again?
That's it?
Do you have time?
I'm fascinated.
So, you know, they had to make the gameplay good in order for
Yeah.
the game to be enjoyable. And that's why a lot of times those older gamers, they miss those days because now you have games that, and it really spawned from the age when they were doing cutscenes.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy VII was really big on them. They kind of led that charge. And, you know, it added the story element. And the story element's great. But it's almost kind of taken over to where it's almost the majority of it now.
Yeah.
Like, so, and that's why you have this resurgence in like people who play battle royales and online gaming and stuff like that. It's not so much the story; it's the gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that give and take in this community, and I think that's what the big disconnect between the newer gamers and the older gamers are.
Right, right. All right, guys. Well, we're going to take just a quick break, but next up, we're actually going to dive into a movie trailer.
Yeah.
This is a movie that is, whether it's wildly popular or not, it's a classic for you and me.
It's one of my favorite movie
Right.
franchises.
Well, and I think it involves between the two of us, our favorite actor.
Oh, absolutely.
And you know what? Just genuinely a great man.
He's amazing.
Right. Probably the best human being on Earth.
I think so.
Right? All right, so we'll take just a quick break, guys, and then we'll dive right into it. All right, guys. So this next trailer we're coming up with is for the next installment in the Bill and Ted trilogy now at this point.
Yeah, it's a trilogy now with this one.
All right. All right, guys, we're going to watch this trailer and then we'll dive into it.
Years ago, you played a concert in front of the entire world.
Epic.
1 month ago, you played in Barstow, California for 40 people, most of whom were there for $2 taco night. Bill and Ted, what have you got to say for yourselves?
Be excellent to each other. And party on, dudes.
You were supposed to unite the world and save reality as we know it.
Bill, we've spent our whole life trying to write the song that will reunite the world. Why can't we just go to the future when we have written it?
Whoa! And take it from ourselves.
But isn't that stealing?
How is that stealing? We're stealing it from ourselves, dude.
How'd you like our song?
It's a little on the dark side, but you know, that's cool.
All right, guys. So what you just saw was the trailer for Bill and Ted Face the Music. What'd you think?
Oh man, I've been waiting for this. There's been like rumors on the internet for almost like 10 years now of scripts going around, and both Alex Winters and Keanu Reeves were both interested in doing it. And I guess they finally found it. One thing in that trailer that didn't show was their daughters get involved.
Right.
Two, their daughters actually steal a time machine and they go back in time, and there's a whole thing there too. So it's exciting. I think one of the things, so I'm excited about it. One of the things that it's going to run into is what are they going to do about the ending and the song that unites the world, right? It's almost like Tenacious D's tribute.
Right.
You know, you can't write the greatest song in the world, but this is just a tribute to the greatest song in the world. Right? So I'm curious to see what they do with the ending. And that's the payoff, though.
Right.
You know, see how they do it.
Well, and you know, I even when they were still hinting at the possibility of the movie, Keanu Reeves and Alex Winters were talking, and of course Keanu Reeves is an actor; he's down, right? But Alex Winters, he hasn't really done much of like acting and stuff. At least not that anything anybody knows of for quite a while. He was immediately in.
Oh yeah.
Now, and here's the thing that, honestly, given any other franchise, I would probably question. However, with it being Keanu Reeves and being Bill and Ted, I'm not too worried about. But I think what a lot of people might be concerned with is, you know, we live in a time of reboots right now, and some of them, all you really get from it is that nostalgic feeling.
Yeah.
Like the Jay and Silent Bob reboot was great because it was Jay and Silent Bob.
Right.
The film, though, not so much. I feel like the direction they're trying to go with this, and even just through the trailers, like, Bill and Ted are Bill and Ted.
Yeah.
And if you get the original two actors in to play Bill and Ted, then you have Bill and Ted.
Exactly.
You can't, it doesn't matter. Like, it's going to be Bill and Ted.
Yeah.
And that's what we're looking for, right? And truth be told, I have the highest hopes for this film.
Oh yeah, it's going to be fun.
Absolutely.
It's going to be fun, whether we think it's like the greatest movie ever made or it could have been better. It's still going to be a fun ride.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And that's the whole point of Bill and Ted.
Exactly, dude.
Yeah. Now, what did you think of Prison Bill and Ted?
Oh, dude, so I was laughing because their tattoos. Ted has excellent.
Yeah.
And Bill has heinous. Or no, I think it's reverse. Keanu's Bill, right? I always get their names mixed up.
No, Keanu's Ted.
Yeah. So Ted has excellent. Bill has heinous. Bill Esquire. That's
Yep.
right, yeah. Bill Esquire. Bill S. Preston Esquire. But he has heinous tattooed on his stomach. Yeah, just that line, a little on the dark side, but that's cool.
Well, and I think the whole premise of it is great. Like they went in the past,
Yeah.
you know, and they had to deal with that, and now they're having to go to the future a little bit, and
Right.
find what the song to unite the world is, right?
Yeah.
And I really liked, and there's a little bit of an extended, maybe it's another teaser trailer or whatever, but you see what is it, Death
Yeah.
again, and same actors in there playing Death.
That's awesome. Yeah.
But I think this film's going to be great, and apparently, because we haven't heard anything yet, it's supposed to be coming out this month.
Really?
Yes. I could fact check that, but I believe there was really no delay or anything like that with this film.
Right.
So
Well, yeah, and Corona's been brutal to the Hollywood industry because that's one thing I've missed about all of it is just all the new movies that
they've
come out.
essentially shut down.
Yeah.
Which is insane, man.
So, because I used to get excited for summer because that's when all the blockbusters would come out.
Right.
Yeah. So.
So it does say that the initial release in the Ukraine is August 27th, 2020. So let's see here. Just to be sure, Bill and Ted Face the Music, written by, starring, release date August 28th, 2020. It's still the
Nice.
set release date for Bill and Ted Face the
Very
Music,
nice.
which is great, man. You know, I have been itching for just a new movie in general.
Same.
I don't care what it is, what the genres it is, who's in it. I just want a new film.
I know. I'll watch like Baby Shark the movie right now.
Dude,
If it's new.
anything. Man. I mean, it's just killing me, you know. Thankfully, anime is still coming out with new seasons, and we
Yeah.
haven't caught very many delays with their things. But God, it's been tough, man.
Yeah.
It's been tough. I tell you what, it's really sad the toll that it's taking on Hollywood. Because you know, let's be honest, this is a geek-based podcast.
Yeah.
Film is a huge component of that, and so I believe we're all hurting with them.
Oh yeah.
I mean, this isn't just affecting Hollywood in itself; it's affecting all of us.
Yeah. We're Baby Yoda reaching out right now.
Right. You know, you give me a nice day at the beach, and you give me a nice comfortable couch with a pizza and a goddamn good movie. You know where I'm gonna end up?
Well, you said pizza in a movie, so I'm there.
Right. I'm gonna end up watching that damn good movie and
Yeah.
smashing that pizza.
Right.
You know, I can go to the beach any damn day,
Yeah,
but I'm gonna enjoy this.
Throw in some cold beer, and I might offer you marriage.
Well, goddamn. Yeah, but so guys, Bill and Ted Face the Music still set to release on the 28th of August. Now, while it would be pretty crappy, I don't suspect them changing that at this point.
No, and I do know a lot of movie theaters have started to try to open back up. I know
Right.
AMC is starting to do 15-cent movies and show like older movies and stuff like that. And so they're trying to phase back into opening business. So I feel like, and then Keanu Reeves being just Keanu Reeves, one of the most amazing people
I
in the
love
world.
that man.
I love him. Like,
Did you see the? I know you've seen the clip. Oh God, I can't remember. Was he on Jimmy Fallon or Jimmy
Colbert.
Colbert.
He was on
And he asked him,
Stephen
"What do you
Colbert.
think happens when he dies?"
I know.
And he's just there, and
I know the people who love you miss you a lot.
Stephen Colbert hit the floor. Like, man.
Yeah.
You know, he
Right.
could have said anything.
How do
He could have simply said, "I don't know."
Yeah.
You know, he could have just been neutral about it.
But
I don't know.
he was Keanu Reeves.
He was fucking Keanu Reeves. You know,
Cool Breeze himself.
Right. You know, speaking of him, man, I'm sure you've seen some of the videos of the intense training and stuff that he goes through for John Wick.
Yeah, I have.
I mean, even Joe Rogan has talked about it on his podcast. I mean,
Yeah.
Keanu Reeves really gets into what he does.
100%. He's such a great actor, and everybody always hates him because, like, oh, he plays the same character in every movie. And I was reading an Ask Me Anything about him, and he was like, somebody asked, which one of your favorite characters is most you, like closest to you. He's like, and he said, well, whenever I'm playing a character, I try to imbue myself into that character. So really, every character I played is a mixture of that character and me.
Right.
And that's a really interesting take on it. It's not that he's playing the same character every time. It's that each character is really like half that character and half him.
It's almost a reversal of like a method actor.
Right.
You know, they're trying to embody this character.
Right.
Whereas he's trying to figure out, well, how can that be me?
Yeah.
You know, or how am I that?
Exactly.
And what aspects of my life am I that? And then, of course, you make that bigger, right?
Yeah.
More extravagant. But he's looking for that within himself.
Yeah.
And that's really amazing. And I think that's why he's so great.
Absolutely.
Because he's just genuinely and unapologetically himself.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And truth be told, if this movie comes out and anyone hates on anything to do with his acting, you have lost your mind, and you've just hated on one of the most beautiful people in the world.
Catch these hands.
Yeah. Go a quick round of fisticuffs. You know? All right, guys. Well, that was Bill and Ted's Face the Music. The next segment we're going to get into, which is going to be something that we're going to start doing to wrap up the podcast, we're just going to be discussing some of the games that we've been playing. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean we'll be playing them together. Maybe we did, because we play shit together all the time.
Yeah.
But just to give you guys some insight into what's going on with us as gamers, because as I would imagine, most, if not all of you, are gamers in your own sense. And it's good to talk about those things, because it might help you get interested in something that you maybe weren't sure about, or it may give you some more insight into something that you've been playing, right? So I think it's a really good segment of the podcast.
Absolutely.
I think it's wonderful, and I think it also helps the viewers to get a little more personal with us and what we're actually doing. It's one thing to get on here and say, okay, we're going to talk about Bill and Ted Face the Music, right? Well, then there's another thing we're getting on here and we're giving our thoughts. Actually, I'm sorry. We're not going to do what's playing.
I was about to ask.
Yeah. Well, actually, what we're going to be doing next, we'll take a short break, and we actually watched a film today called American Pickle.
Starring Seth Rogen.
With Seth Rogen,
Yeah.
who plays two characters, by the way. And we decided to add in something like this because, for one, we're huge movie buffs. We love movies. We love film. And it's been hard for all of us, again, to watch movies here lately with everything going on. So we'll take a quick break, and then we'll come back and give you our thoughts on American Pickle.
Absolutely.
All right, guys. So we're going to watch the trailer for American Pickle. This is a film starring Seth Rogen. It came out on August 6th, and it's streaming exclusively on HBO Max. What you don't have, I would highly recommend getting simply for this film.
Yeah, and they have a lot of other great content too on HBO Max.
Right. So we'll watch this trailer. John here and I have already actually watched the film. We actually watched it just prior to filming this podcast. So we'll watch the trailer, and then we'll tell you some of our thoughts and what we just wholly thought about the movie.
Als ik arbeidsjaar in Schuur een weerreich.
Wie reich?
Zo reich. Als ik zo opzol in mijn eigen met zijn.
In old country of Slupska, I am ditch digger. As far as jobs in Slupsko, it's pretty good. We are the Greenbaums, and we have American dream. I find good job in pickle factory. Sarah, I make this vow. 100 years, our family will prosper. And then one day, everything changed.
It's been 100 years. The pickle brine preserved him perfectly.
You're too old to lose it. The world has changed. Everyone I know is gone.
You were able to track down a great grandson.
Greenbaum? Greenbaum? This is nuts.
Walk past the cafe, but you don't eat when you live to...
Your parents, where are they?
They passed away. It was a car crash.
You will tell me everything of their deaths, how their bodies died, their faces as the life left. We will bond over our pain.
Oh no, love, you're not alone.
I understand why you're a religious person, but I'm not.
How do you grieve for dead parents?
Doing okay. I have an idea.
We start pickle business.
That's a very stupid idea, Herschel. You have no wife, no children, no friends, no job. You need help. I'm fine.
You're not alone.
We will become success. Wow. Ooh, very pungent.
Yeah, that's straight from the devil.
We'll finally make their parents proud.
Don't talk about my parents.
You never met them.
You have captivated the hearts of the entire world.
Probably not best case scenario for the family's become. In old country, we have saying. I'm sure this has aged well.
If man does not throw punch, it is because this man secretly had polio arm.
Do something, man. Throw your punch.
You know they cured polio, right? Like a guy named Jonas Salk.
Was he Jew?
He was.
Yes.
Is this your father? No, that's David Bowie. Is this your mother? No, that's also David Bowie. That whole poster is David Bowie.
All right, so guys,
make sure to stop it. It'll play something else.
Yep. That was the trailer for American Pickle, which is streaming exclusively on HBO Max. It did release on August 6th. So, what'd you think of the movie?
So I liked it. It was enjoyable. It was fun to see Seth Rogen playing two different characters. They did a really good job of mixing comedy and then heartfelt moments.
Right.
You know, there were scenes where you were laughing and chuckling because it was just so absurdly stupid. But then they would have like these heartfelt family moments and sad moments and stuff like that. And I really liked it. It never felt like a jerk when they switched from those heartfelt to that comedy.
No, it was like it was an immediate transition, but it was a well played transition.
It was organic.
Yeah, you didn't see it coming.
Yeah,
but you're like, wow, you know.
Right.
I think if you're any sort of fan of Seth Rogen, this is an excellent film to watch. Again, he is playing both characters, but both characters are vastly different.
Absolutely.
Vastly different. And you know, whether you're a fan of Seth Rogen or not, we can all admittedly say that generally his characters have the same... Generally his characters are him. Yeah. They're all about the same in some aspect, right? And I don't think either one of these were like that.
No, and you know, I said that when we were watching it. This movie like really showcases his range.
Yeah. He really established himself as not only just comedic actor, but an actor in general.
Right. The character of Herschel was. I mean, there were some funny things and funny moments about him, but he wasn't a funny person.
Right.
And to see that seriousness and the heartfeltness of Seth Rogen, like it was a lot of range.
Well, and it also had some great comedy in it. I mean, truthfully, I almost, you know, didn't really stop giggling, you know.
Yeah.
And then even the sad moments, you were like, holy shit.
Right.
You know. The story itself was beautiful. They did a lot of callbacks, you know, like him telling Sarah that in 100 years the Greenbaum family would be rich, be well off, they'd be the strongest, best family. And then 100 years later, you know, he comes out of that pickle brine.
Right.
And, you know, of course, at the end of the film, he realizes that. But at the first, it didn't seem like his family had prospered.
Yeah.
You know. So I thought that was really great. They did a bunch of nice little callbacks to each part of the film.
Absolutely. And then, you know, that of course, it's based on a short story out of the New Yorker called Sellout, written by Simon Rich. Mm-hmm. And you can actually go online and find all 4 parts of it and read it online.
It's
for
a
free.
4-parter.
Yeah, it's 4 parts.
Okay.
It's a serialized short story that was published in the New Yorker, and you can find it online for free and read it.
Yeah.
So,
well, you know, one thing I really loved about the film too, and honestly, the entire premise of it was a great segue into a lot of these things, but it really touched on a lot of issues and things that are being talked about in the world today.
Yeah.
I mean, for instance, what you saw in the trailer about the David Bowie poster.
Yeah.
You know, with all the things going on in the world today, I mean, that was just kind of a great, lighthearted take on it.
Oh, absolutely.
On what's happening, you know.
At one point, he goes on Twitter, and like, you know, they address a lot of stuff about, you know, what's going on with Twitter right now, and you know, they did touch on a lot of like political issues in a kind of joking way, you know, making light. And,
yeah.
You know, and we had a discussion before. You know, comedy is a great way to approach things that we have trouble talking about in society, and it's a great way to approach those kinds of conversations and have discussions and talk about things that normally people shy away from talking about.
Right. Well, and it's like I think one of the great parts too is when Herschel first comes out of the brine, and then Ben comes and they meet, and Ben takes him back to his apartment. He's asking if he wants something to drink, and he opens his fridge and he's got all these different kinds of milks from things that shouldn't be milk.
Yeah,
right.
They have pea milk. They're milking peas now.
I thought that was amazing, man. It was hilarious.
Oh,
you know? And then the whole, so there's this whole thing in the movie about seltzer water.
Yeah.
Right? Because apparently back then, from Herschel's original time, seltzer water, being able to have or drink seltzer water was a sign of prosperity.
Yeah.
Right? And so then he goes into Ben's place, and realizes that just pretty much anyone can have seltzer water.
Yeah,
you know,
Ben's got a little seltzer machine.
Yeah,
in his house.
It was awesome, man.
Yeah.
Overall, I thoroughly enjoyed the film.
I did too. It was a fun watch, and I got more than what I expected from it.
I almost expected just a Seth Rogen film.
Yeah,
that wasn't just a Seth Rogen film.
No,
that was Seth Rogen the actor in a film.
Exactly.
Right.
And a good film with a good story.
Right. I mean, and it really was beautiful. It was a beautifully made movie.
Yeah.
I really thought. Like I said, I thought like Superbad or Pineapple Express are great films simply because it's Seth Rogen and James Franco or Seth Rogen and Jonah Hill. Like they're great films because we're fans.
Yeah.
For us, they're cult classics, right? Like they've reached that level.
Mm-hmm.
So I did go into this with the mindset, well, it's a Seth Rogen movie.
Yeah.
I enjoy Seth Rogen. This is going to be a good movie. Little did I know that this was a film.
Yeah, I didn't expect to get punched in the heart.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Even the ending.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, this was something that me and you were talking about yesterday. Films that just kind of end abruptly like that.
Right.
And it almost did.
Yeah.
But it was a complete abruptness.
Yeah.
It was complete. The film
Well, it
came
come full circle.
Yeah, the film came full circle.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't like a fadeaway type thing. It was just the story was over.
Yeah.
And there's something beautiful to be held in that.
Absolutely.
We don't need that. It's like a transition after the end to transition you away from it. Whereas, you know what? This is my story.
Yeah.
It's done.
Oh yeah.
You got what I gave you, and damn, he gave us something great.
Oh yeah, he did. It was a really, really good film, and I highly suggest if you're going into this looking for a comedy and a pure comedy, you're not going to get what you're looking for. Now you will laugh, but you're going to get more than what you're looking for.
Right.
Go into this expecting a film, and whenever I say the word film, I mean it like how the guys with the newsy hats and a handlebar mustache says film. Like, this is a film.
Yeah.
And if you go in expecting that, then it's a very, very good movie.
Even as the whole premise is comedic in itself.
It's absurd. A guy gets brined for 100 years.
Yeah, he falls into a vat of pickles, and immediately the factory shuts down as soon as he falls in, and the lid's closing, and he's like, "All right, this building's condemned." Yeah. Like, for one, what? But so the man gets brined in a vat of pickles for 100 years, and then these kids are messing around, and it gets opened up, and he's perfectly preserved and alive at that.
Yeah.
There's the biggest difference. He's not just preserved in a brine. He's alive and been preserved in his brine. So the whole idea of the movie is absurd.
Yeah.
Right. But it's an absolute film.
It has a soul.
It really does. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if it was nominated for some awards.
Possibly, I could see that happening.
Well, and so here's the distinction I want to make. I'm not just saying that because, like we stated earlier, that we're in a time where there's not a lot of movies coming out and things, and so there might not be much material to work with when they're making these nominees and all of that. Let's just hypothetically say this released 2-3 years ago. I still believe it would be nominated in at least some category.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it was just a very well made and beautiful film.
It absolutely was. There was a lot of heartfelt moments. There was a lot of laughs, and just really, really good acting.
Right. Well, guys, that was our review of American Pickle. I highly recommend each and every one of you watch it. If you don't have HBO Max and you don't care about anything else that's on there, check out a free 1-month subscription of it and then cancel it just to watch that film. I'm telling you, it's well worth your time. It's only about 90 minutes long. It was great. It was
Absolutely.
great. I think you and I both can agree that it was thoroughly enjoyable.
I had fun watching it.
Right. So, guys, now is actually the time where what will always pretty much be the last segment of the podcast.
Yeah.
And what this is, just to kind of wrap things up, bring them around full circle, we're going to talk about the games that we've been playing, some of the things that we've been doing, again, together, solo, whatever, just to give you some insight into what we like, or what we've been doing in our free time, as gamers, as geeks, and as lovers of the genre in general. So give us just a quick second, and we'll be right back. All right, guys. So welcome back. This is what's going to be the last segment of the podcast now, with the new way that we're doing things. Going to kind of wrap things up and give you some ideas into what we've been playing and what we're enjoying. So, John, would you like to kick this thing off?
Sure. So recently we played Killer Instinct, the definitive edition on PC. We played this together. Matt and I, Matrix and I, we play a lot of fighting games together. They don't get streamed a lot.
I get my ass whooped mostly. Most always, actually. I live a defeating life.
I've been playing fighting games for years, and they've always been one of my favorite genres.
Well, kudos to you, and props to you. My interest in them and my skill level from them, my knowledge of them, has solely stemmed from you. So, cheers to that.
But, so it's the newest iteration of Killer Instinct. Now, I played the original Killer Instinct back in the day, the first one on the, Super Nintendo days.
And this was my first experience into Killer Instinct.
Yeah, and it's a really fun game. It's a combo-based fighting system. Now, a lot of the fighting games you'll play, there's combos in it, but then there's, super moves and stuff like that.
Yep.
With Killer Instinct, you can just unleash some sick, long combos. I remember there was one point we were playing. I got I think it was a 16-hit combo because you were asking me if it was ever going to end.
Oh yeah, dude! I was like, oh my god, I'm in an infinite loop of just getting my ass handed to me.
But it was really fun, really fast paced.
Yeah, it was really great. It's really hardcore, which is something I really enjoy with a lot of fighting games. But I was very surprised with Killer Instinct. It was cool that the whole gameplay is solely centered around combos, and it also gives you this want to go and explore that and really learn that. The game itself was epic. I mean, it gets brutal at times, and it gets really just badass at times. I mean, when you do start to unleash these combos, whether you're doing it because you're precisely hitting buttons or because you're like me and you get to a point where you get frustrated and just start to hit things because you want to land a hit, when you start to unleash these things, you get this sense of accomplishment and just kick-assness that is something to be revered. I mean, that in itself is a feeling to be sought after.
Yeah.
I thoroughly like the game. Apparently, when we were playing, and the version of the game that we were playing has a lot of new characters in it.
Yeah.
And for whatever randomized reason, the characters I kept picking were ones that were newer and you haven't even played. And even though I was getting beat, I liked the way the characters were playing, and there were a couple times where I was landing some pretty sick hits with them.
Oh yeah.
And even you were like, "Holy crap!"
Yeah.
What just happened?
Yeah, there was one demon guy that you do really well with.
Yeah. All in all, I actually had a really good time playing the game. It's sometimes that it's hit or miss when you're playing a new game, whether you like that particular genre or not, and especially if you're playing it with someone who is already good. I think all of us as gamers have a tendency to just get pissed off at stuff like that, and I think that's natural. It comes with it. I mean, because who wants to lose? Right. Now, granted, if it's some other thing where you're both, somewhat knowledgeable about it, then a loss is a loss. You learn from your mistakes there or whatever. And so, anyways, I was really surprised that, we played a good couple matches, and I didn't win one. All in all, I think I won 1 or 2 rounds.
Right.
I didn't actually win, and I never really got mad at it. And that really is a testament to the game, because what kept me entertained was the animation, the art style, and just the hardcore, brutal action of it.
And the soundtrack's amazing.
The soundtrack was really good, right? So I really love the game.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I would highly recommend anyone who's into fighting games to go and check it out. Apparently, it's a classic in that genre.
Yes, very well known. Like I said, back from the Super Nintendo days, and then, or I think it's actually PlayStation. I'm not sure.
It almost did have an original PlayStation feel to it.
Yeah, I think it was PlayStation, because I think you could take the disc and put it in a CD player and listen to the soundtrack. Because I remember doing that.
Oh,
too.
no way! So it was like a double disc.
Yeah, they used to do that back in the day at PS1, Heavy Metal 3. You could play the game, but then you could put it in your CD players, and it have Rob Zombie's Dracula on it, or Super Beast, or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
So it was pretty cool back then.
So, guys, since we're kind of talking about fighting games, for a good while now, you and I have been competing against each other, and what is clearly an all-time favorite of mine and yours, but Dragon Ball FighterZ. Now, for those of you that don't know, and I have streamed this one before the newest installation in the DBZ franchise as far as video games goes is Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, which is a great game in its own right. The previous installment in that franchise, not in that franchise, but in the DBZ genre, was Dragon Ball Fighter Z.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it was a game that I was aware of, but that you actually bought and introduced me to.
Yeah.
So we've been playing a lot. We've played a lot of that in the past, but we just recently, thanks to the help of you, discovered that now we can also play it remotely and are going to start streaming some of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Now that, disregard me getting my ass handed to me in Killer Instinct. Now, if we look at ratios, John here is probably still on top.
You give me a run for my money, though.
But
like,
yeah.
I can't ease off of you. I have to stay on my toes.
Yeah, because well, you know, and what's funny is especially Fighter Z. I'm getting better with trying to be a little more patient with it, but I still have that tendency, like I do with first-person shooters, to just get in the shit.
Yeah.
And you know what? Once you get me started, it is very difficult for you to get me to stop.
Right.
You know, I will keep it coming. So, and that's actually where you excel too. And you know, maybe you've even learned a lot of it through playing me, is how to counter those things and get me to stop.
Yeah.
And especially here recently, it's getting to the point where you're hitting me with these counters or just blocking my shots, and I'm like, wait, how the fuck?
Yeah. Well, like, you know, you use the Dragon Dash a lot, and you can hit down and B and counter that.
Yeah.
You have to time it.
Oh, yeah, you just recently really figured that out. Yeah.
So I've worked on I've known to do that for a while, but the timing I was always messing up.
Right.
And I'm starting to get the timing of it down now.
Right.
But a lot of it, like, you sharpen my reflexes, timing, and prediction abilities.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and playing against you has helped me to learn how to be a little more patient and calculated, as opposed to just let's get in there and whoop some ass.
Yeah, because you can't do that with me.
Right. Yeah, and you know what's so funny about us playing games like this, and it's always really been like this, is that we continuously learn off of one another.
Yeah.
You know, so even just this game in particular, like when we first started, you know, there was things that I was doing, or that you were doing, and then we started to figure each other out, so then we started doing other things. Well, then we would figure that out. Yeah. And it just keeps going. And ultimately what it does is in a complete sense, is making us stronger at the game in general.
Yeah.
You know?
It's like an ever-lengthening game of rock, papers, lizard, Spock. But we just keep adding in more signs.
Yeah. Fucking friends, what is that? And the bloopers is fucking fire. But guys, the game is super fun. Unlike a lot of other DBZ games, you don't actually like transform yourself. Say if you're running a Super Saiyan or a Saiyan or anything like that, you know, they split those up. So you have like your base form Goku to play with. Then you can play a Super Saiyan form. Super Saiyan 3, however, is like an ultimate move with Super Saiyan. So with Super Saiyan, correct?
Yeah. There's a few moves you'll turn into Super Saiyan 3. There are a couple characters that will transform. Frieza transforming in a golden Frieza.
Yeah, some of them do have that. But in the game itself, it pretty much has... Now, some of it is DLC that you do have to buy. But even the base game itself, I mean, it pretty much has every character you could possibly want to play with.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Except Mr. Satan.
Except Mr. Satan. Yeah. Because he'd be OP, you know. He did stop Cell.
He did.
And Boo.
With the delay effect punch.
Right, yeah. So, you know. But even the maps, the arenas themselves are like really great. It does even implement environment destruction depending on certain attacks you do. The game is very fast paced.
Yeah.
It's actually a great game for people who maybe have dabbled a little bit in the fighter genre but never really got immersed into it. It's really great to help you with like reaction times and paying attention to attacks and finding those weak points in certain attacks to figure out when it's best for you to counter.
Yeah, if you've played Guilty Gear, Marvel vs. Capcom, then you'll be right at home in it.
Right. The game itself is fantastic. The soundtrack is actually pretty great.
Yeah.
I thoroughly enjoy it. Obviously, I'm biased, but trying my best to not be. I think everyone will really enjoy playing the game.
It's a blast.
Yeah. So be looking out for future streams with John and I of us playing that, because we just got to the point where we figured that out.
Oh yeah.
So that's going to be a lot of fun, guys.
It's on.
It's going to be a great time. So lastly, and I am super proud of this. You don't know the enjoyment that I'm actually getting from this.
I hear you.
Guys, as most of you know, if you're fans here of my Twitch channel, first person shooters are my bread and butter. And particularly right now, arguably the hottest game out at this time, Call of Duty Warzone has been my top dog. It is my top dog. I love the game. It's so much fun to play. It's full of nonstop action, and you continuously have to use your head. And if you're playing with teammates, you have to work as a team. I absolutely enjoy it more so than I've enjoyed a lot of games, first-person shooters that I've played lately. What I'm proud of is that through conversating with John about it repeatedly, he has just recently popped his Warzone cherry.
I dipped into it. I had fun. It was a blast.
To be honest, are you having fun?
Oh yeah, dude, it's fun.
Yeah.
I love the open map. Like being able to drop into places is cool. The craze started, I remember, with Fortnite, and Fortnite got a lot of hate.
See, I joined Fortnite around season 2.
Yeah.
And I was actually very apprehensive about getting into it because I thought it was just a fad.
Right.
Right? And I didn't really get it.
Yeah.
Okay? But then I dropped in onto that island, and oh god, it took me over. Now I fell off of Fortnite because of I just didn't care much for the new chapter.
Yeah.
However, point being is that really got me into the battle royale genre.
Yeah, I love the battle royale genre. I wasn't so big into the building aspect of Fortnite, which is why I never got into it. But with the Call of Duty Warzone, I grew up playing Call of Duty from like way back, like even before Zombies, like it was first introduced in Black Ops. I was playing Call of Duty before that. And so, you take that concept of the Battle Royale and you put it in Call of Duty, and now I'm not doing anything crazy like building shit. I'm just picking up guns and shooting people.
Well, that's like the joke with people who hate on Fortnite. They talk about, I'm over here shooting this guy, and all of a sudden I turn my head and I look back and he's built a fucking 5-story apartment building.
Right? Like, what the hell are you doing, dude? But, and that was the part that didn't really interest me, and that's why I didn't get into it. But when I was watching you, I watched your stream a few times, playing Warzone, and I was kind of seeing like it's pretty much Call of Duty, but then you just got this massive map and tons of players, and
Right.
it looked interesting, so I hopped in.
Well, and I really not just first-person shooters or like battle royale genre. Period. I always really thought you'd like it anyway, and we were talking about this last night. For those of you that don't know or haven't heard before from past podcasts, John here was in the military. He did serve. Thank you for your service.
It was an honor and a pleasure.
And so we were having a conversation last night about, like, in the Warzone in particularly, the similarities and differences between running in like a squad match with your squad, your boys or girls, that you regularly play with, and then how that operates in a real world Warzone scenario,
Yeah.
And so I always thought you would really like it if you got in it and really got the hang of it. And I guess I was right.
Oh yeah, totally. I think the most fun I'm having right now is just trying to survive as long as I can.
Well, and I told you this earlier. You're very different from a lot of people that I play with that are either new to the game or still aren't that great.
Yeah.
In that, when you do see people, you don't immediately get scared and run away.
Yeah.
Right? Now you might turn back and find cover, but I'm telling you, I have friends who you would think you lit a fire under their ass because as soon as they see someone, they're on the other fucking side of the map. They're gone. They are gone.
Yeah.
Right? And you don't do that. There are still a lot of little details and nuances with the game that you're figuring out, but you are doing fairly well for someone who's brand new to the game. I'm really glad that you're enjoying it. I'm really looking forward to us playing together and me trying to help you learn some of the things like call outs and the terminology that's used within the game, and you getting better. We talked about this last night. One of the biggest aspects is communication.
Yeah.
And
shoot, move, communicate.
Right. And that's not even only communication between all your squad mates. Some of it too is also to humble yourself and realize who knows more or is better, and then listen to them.
Oh yeah.
Right? Now that's also dependent upon the scenario. Say if I was telling you to go somewhere or do something, but then you see a guy in front of you, and I'm like, yo, why aren't you going to do that?
Yeah.
Well, then clearly you need to make that better decision. You know what? I'm gonna hang back for a minute.
Right.
But that's the conversation we were having. You know, it's really humbling yourself. I find a lot of time, man, people get very. The Call of Duty community, for one, is toxic. Warzone community is another level of toxic, right? The game itself can be toxic, but I find a lot of people that you play with, man, they just don't want to hear it, and they don't pay attention, you know. And it's things like that that really bug me, because, like me personally, if I was brand new to a game and I was playing with people who were either used to it or seasoned at it, by God, I'm going to listen to what they have to say. Yeah. You know, I'm going to do what they're telling me to do, because in my mind, I don't know shit. Right. You know, this is not my game. I don't know I don't know what's going on. So you were doing really well with that when we were playing a little bit last night. You know, just you know what I was saying was going on and what we needed to do, what you needed to do. You were there. Oh yeah. In a heartbeat. No, nothing was asked, and it was like, all right, well, that's what needs to happen, and we did pretty good. I mean, I think that one match we hit 6. I think I had like 8 or 9 kills. And, I mean, we did good. You played really well with me as a teammate. I mean, your call-outs were on point. We were up in that tower in the fire station. Yeah. And, you saved me a couple times from getting smacked in the back of the head, you know? And that's what you look for in a teammate. Yeah. And I think you did really well, and I'm really glad that you're enjoying it.
It's not a soldier's job to ask why. It's a soldier's job to do and die.
Right. So, guys, be looking forward to some streams of that in the future. Absolutely. Between the two of us. Guys, that's pretty much it. Yeah. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the podcast. Like I said, for one, let me go ahead and apologize for the fact that there's been such a long period of time since the previous episode. And that's why I'm not only calling this episode 5, I'm calling episode 5 the Reboot.
We know you guys missed us.
Absolutely.
And we missed you too.
Well, and you know, that is the funny thing, is that in these past couple months since the last episode, I've had people ask, when's the next episode of the podcast? Yeah. And people do enjoy it. With that being said, this will take me to my next point. Again, like I said at the start, you know, it used to be where we do the episode, stream it live, and then I'd immediately would download it and then upload it directly to YouTube. Guys, just for timing purposes, from here on, if you're looking to either go back and rewatch, or you're looking to go check out the YouTube video of it, give us about a week. Yeah. Right after the episode is aired live, just because, like I said, we are really trying to start to make this the best that it can be, and so with editing and things like that, it's going to take us some time. John here already knows a little bit. I think we're both going to start trying to learn even more, and we're just going to make it fucking epic.
Try to polish it up.
Yeah. Just make it really good. You know, the best that we can. That's because right. You know, John is my family, and he knows me, and I know as well as him. I'm not too big on half-assing things. Yeah. And unfortunately, even though when I started this and I had the idea for it and I came to you about it, you know, it's my baby. Yeah. You know, and it was at the time, so it's not like I wasn't fully into it. But again, life happens. Oh yeah. And I feel like, you know, through all the BS and crap that's going on, not only in the world, but that's been going on in our lives, you know, just the different changes and things. The glass half full. Yeah. This is such a great opportunity, and I think we're both in really good places to put more time and effort into this.
Absolutely.
All right. So I'm thinking from this day forward, maybe an episode every 2 weeks to a month.
Yeah, that sounds good.
I think it's, and here's actually the reason why too for that is because while we still want to try our best to get together and do the podcast, I actually live in a different town now, right? But with the way the internet is today, go internet, there's the capability of us to do this remotely. Yeah. So that also frees us up a lot as well.
Absolutely.
You know, because that was a big problem of ours was the scheduling. Getting each other's schedules down to when we could get together and actually do it. And of course, that would still be an even bigger problem now with us living in different towns. Yeah. You know, that's just, it's hard. Life happens. The fact of the matter is, guys, at this point, we do this as a hobby, you know. Now, granted, I'm sure the end goal should always be, because you should reach for the top. And it would be awesome if this became at least a side hustle, right? You know, but this is a hobby. This was just something we collectively decided together to do because, in all reality, these are conversations that me and John here have regularly.
Yeah.
Like, and we just figured, well, you know what? If we're having so much fun with it, then maybe you guys will too. So, anyways, again, guys, I hope you enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun.
I had a blast. And hey, guys, let us know what you think about the new format, and if you have any suggestions or anything you'd like to hear from us.
Absolutely. Look, there are commands and links right under my Twitch channel as well as my YouTube channel that link to all of my social medias and platforms and things like that. That will help you keep up to date with what's going on with the podcast. And also, if you have some suggestions, if there's something happening, something going on, something you want to hear our thoughts on, comment, DM, whatever, let us know. Because ultimately what you're doing is helping us.
Yeah, we want to give you guys the content that you want.
Right. And here's the great thing too about us having more time for this is that even if it's something that we haven't had the pleasure of experiencing, we can do the research and take the time to really give you our wholehearted opinion on it.
Oh, absolutely.
What we really think about the entirety of it. So yeah, be sure to hit those links. Give us any feedback or questions or anything you have, DM, comment, whatever it is. Generally, I'm pretty quick to respond to things like that. If not, give me a day and I'll have your response. So again, guys, the YouTube video, give us about a week and it'll be uploaded to YouTube. And I'll be sure to put that out there once it's ready. I'll put it on my social media and things like that. Anything else you want to add, John?
No, I'm good.
Yeah.
That was fantastic. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, I did too. Awesome. I think we covered a lot of great things, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Later, guys.